Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Museum Moments. My name is Molly Dubin and I'm the curator with the Jewish Museum Milwaukee, and I am thrilled to have with us today Deneine Powell. So Deneine is the recently appointed, as of September, president and CEO of AALAM, the African American Leadership Association of Milwaukee. So welcome, Deneine.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and share a little bit about AALAM with you.
Well, we so appreciate it. And today's museum moment, I would like to say, is inspired by Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which we will, of course, be observing and celebrating this Monday, January 18th. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Robin Cohen, for making this possible. So we're going to dive right into this because I know we want to talk a little bit about, who is AALAM, how did it come to be, and then a little bit about your vision for 2021 and some of the initiatives and opportunities that are on the horizon. So with that, I ask our audience to bear with us. We had a little bit of a technical glitch before, so I'm going to share my screen and get our PowerPoint up that Deneine has put together. So, slideshow from the beginning. So there it is our opening slide. So I'm going to turn it right over to Deneine.
Great. Well, thank you so much for, again, inviting me to be here. AALAM, the African American Leadership Alliance of Milwaukee, is relatively new for the organization itself. However, the programming is over a decade old. So I just want to tell you a little bit about it. Next slide. I've been asked several times, what problem is AALAM solving? And really, Milwaukee is one of the most racially segregated cities in the United States. As a matter of fact, it's at the top of the list. And while that is definitely a problem, one of the underlying issues that has occurred as a result of this is that we have a widening talent gap. It's an underutilized resource or underutilized workforce, of highly skilled African Americans that also have the greatest economic disparities, greater than virtually 20 cities of pure metropolitan areas. What do I mean by that? Is that it's metropolitan areas that are very similar to Milwaukee. A great example would be Cleveland. It's roughly the same size. It has the same kind of racial and ethnic makeup. Mm-hmm. Next slide, please. So just to illustrate what happens and what the problem is, I love to share this picture. And this is actually a picture of my family. And we immigrated here from Jamaica in 1970. And while my grandfather has passed on, right there in the middle sitting is our matriarch, my grandmother. And this was her 90th birthday, which was several years ago. Now, this picture does not show everybody, but who it does show is most of my cousins, their kids, and their kids' kids. And so out of the 6 children that my grandparents had, they had 47 grandchildren. And out of that 47 grandchildren, they have over 2 dozen great-grandchildren and actually 3 great-great-grandchildren now.
Amazing.
It's crazy how big it's growing. And these sort of events are just the highlight of the year when we can all get together. The reason I'm showing you this picture is because out of the 47 grandchildren, all of us born here in this city, in Milwaukee, there are 4 left in Milwaukee. Now, why is that? Now, obviously, a group of Jamaicans will the first thing that comes out of their mouths is weather. Milwaukee is cold and it's miserable to a certain extent. But that's not really what the problem is. What it boils down to is 3 areas, and it's opportunity. That's both job opportunity and social opportunity. It's the quality of life, which is lower because of segregation, and also it is. Sorry, I don't have my notes in front of me because I don't have them in front of me. And the last one really, it's education.
Should I be advancing the slide here for you?
Yeah, go right ahead. We have to we have to move on to find that education, that quality of education. So also to push this further, one of the things that AALAM did a while ago and released back in September of this year, right around the time I started, was a study that was done. It was the Index of African American Well-Being. And it's entitled African American Well-Being in the Nation's Largest Metropolitan Areas. And it was sponsored by the Greater Milwaukee Foundation and published by Dr. Mark Levine, who is the founding director of UW-Milwaukee Center for Economic Development. Next slide, please. Now, the study revealed some very specific areas where there's opportunity to drive positive change. Now, while the report found that the Black population here in Milwaukee lags far behind other major metropolitan areas, which we've already talked about, it's important to acknowledge that the history of redlining, exclusionary zoning, and discrimination lending practices has contributed to this issue. Next slide. Now, despite these factors, the index suggests three things. That one, first, by reducing racial segregation, secondly, enhancing Black educational attainment, and thirdly, increasing the numbers of Black executives and managers in Milwaukee companies, that can really contribute to the overall community well-being. And so these are the three areas that really AALAM is focused on. So who are we? What are we? Next slide. AALAM's vision and goal. Our first goal, our vision, is to be the destination, the global destination where all African Americans thrive and prosper. And I just love that idea of a place where African Americans want to come, that we become, someone said, the Atlanta of the Midwest. I don't know if I necessarily want to do that because they have terrible traffic, but I definitely feel that we can do more than what we're doing, and to rank as the #1 city for African Americans by 2025. Now that's a very aggressive goal, but what we see it is that if we can get our feet on the path to this goal, that's fine. Then we're moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next slide. Okay, so what does AALAM do? There's so many organizations out there that are doing similar things. There are plenty of diversity, equity, and inclusion organizations. There are lots of trainers in that area. We definitely see a lot of folks that are very interested in recruitment of Black and brown people to our city. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We didn't want to do the same things that everybody else was doing. And so what really our sweet spot, the space that we feel we're most comfortable in, is that connection to others. So we convene, we act as a bridge. We really link knowledge, resources, ideas, and African American leaders to each other. We provide professional expertise on leadership related topics, and we host or support convenings. We also work as a broker. We leverage funding to create opportunities for large-scale change. And we link to national resources and participate in and generate funding collaboratives for the work. As an influencer, we really focus on leveraging civic reputation and influence of peer organizations. And we also do a lot through our data and our research. We hope to affect policy and systems change. And we help leaders and their organizations address the pressing issues that are impacting African Americans. As a connector, we use our board and our team networks, of which we have several, circle groups we call them. And we work together to sustain ad hoc work groups. And right now, if you think back in March and April when COVID first started, all of a sudden there were 15 groups that were specifically focused on the impact that COVID was having in the African American community. And so as an organizer that works towards connecting and convening, we've really stepped in to help those groups be successful in their goals of either if it's supporting African Americans, if it's growing certain programs that will help support them through this crisis that we're experiencing. That's what we're there for.
Right. And really sounds like a hub, serving as a hub, as you said, is in connecting all of these
It truly is. And what we found is that even like, for example, Molly, with our African American Leadership Program, which is our flagship program, that's a program that's been actually going on for over a decade. That program has developed over 200 leaders that are now in our city doing this type of work. So really our focus, what we want to continue to do is to grow that. That brings those leaders into the conversation. They convene meetings. They help to broker and leverage that funding that's already out there. They influence the policies that are being made right now, and they connect other organizations together. And we're starting to really see that there's nothing more delightful than when I walk into an organization and wow, there's 6 or 7 of our graduates at the table, and not just at the management table, but at that executive level. And that's really an exciting thing for us.
That is truly. So are we moving on to the next slide here?
Let's move on to the next slide. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about 2021. We have a vision right now, and while we're doing a lot, this is a very new organization, so we've had to have a laser focus on some areas that we know we can have great impact for this year. And the first is really to work with our strategic partners, like the Greater Milwaukee Foundation and the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. We're looking to gain that commitment and investment from local CEOs to increase the African American leaders in our companies here in Milwaukee. Now that takes on a couple of different things, including, for example, the MMAC has the Region of Choice promise, where CEOs are coming together and actually signing a promise to work towards bringing in more African American talent into their organizations. And we have some goals that we're actually planning on trying to meet over the next few years. AALAM will also continue to work on our African American Leadership Program. It's, career pathway programming that's really focused on developing high performance leaders. Now, right now, the program has been incredibly successful, but it's also really small. And the one thing that we've discovered is we've got tons of people pounding on our door saying, hey, can you bring that program over here? And right now we're like, yikes, we can't necessarily do that because, we're smaller and it's all about capacity. So what we've been working on is to expand our programming and to really focus on growing. That will mean adding maybe a couple of cohorts every year, and to offer workshops and smaller classes so that if somebody, say, for example, maybe they don't have the time or the wherewithal to be able to spend that amount of money on a program, they can take a class here and there. They can drop in for a workshop, and those sort of programs will be available. Also, because our alumni network is growing so fast, we've discovered that one of the biggest requests is for more. They want to see a senior fellowship program. And this is something that we think we're really going to focus much more on the development of business acumen and really getting into very specific programming. Something that if you're thinking about moving up the ladder, what are some of the requirements of getting to that next job level, and that we're helping you meet those goals. So very exciting. 2021 is going to be a great year, I think. Next slide. So for AALAM, because we are new, we're also in the process of doing some planning here, and we are growing our team. As a matter of fact, we had a new hire that just started this week. We have been growing and developing the brand. We are developing a website that will be dubbed Career Connections, and really that's all about bringing that dynamic talent pool to local employers here, CEOs, HR representatives and professionals, recruiters, so that they'll be able to tap in and connect with each other. And hopefully we'll be able to hire that great talent pool that's out there that we really want to see here in Milwaukee. We will again expand our current offerings, and I've already mentioned that. And the most exciting piece, at least for me, is we will be launching the AALAM membership program, which will have a lot of the same components I've talked about as far as classes and workshops. But there'll also be some other pieces to that for our corporate partners. And I think that does it. I think that that fully describes us there. I did have a little contact information there that I hope you'll be able to share with your audience.
That is terrific. Thank you so much. I mean, I know that was just kind of a very surface dive. As we talked about just, as recently as yesterday, which again is a reason we're so thankful that you're here. We know how much you have going on. And there's so much in the works, and there's so many exciting resources, plans, initiatives. And as you said, there is just a great want and desire. So this idea of really expanding. So just again, I know one of the things you said you're working on is the website, but if people want to learn more, to get more information about some of these programs, resources, where can they go?
Well, sure. Well, Molly, first of all, we do have a landing page that's got a lot of really great information on it. So we're not totally without a website. It's just as detailed as we would like to see it be in the next few months, in the coming months. So our website, at least what we have up there for now, is AALAM Milwaukee. So it's AALAMILWAUKEE.org. And of course, you can always reach me if you have questions or want to connect. There are a lot of opportunities to volunteer and to work with us. Our circles, for example, really focus in on very specific programming in the city and initiatives that are happening all over. So even if you think, I have this talent or this skill and I'd love to be able to share it, I just don't know if it's a fit, give me a call or send me an email. And my email address is dpowell@AALAMMilwaukee.org. And that is again, AALAMILWAUKEE.
Wow. Well, this has just been amazing learning about these exciting plans, initiatives again. And I know that there are lots of people out there that want to take advantage and to learn more. So thank you for taking the time to be with us, for the incredible work that you're doing. And we'll let you get back to it and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Deneine, and thank you to our audience, and we'll see you next time for another museum moment.